The Horror Journey of St. Augustine. The small town of St. Augustine, with its cobblestone streets and Spanish colonial architecture, was known for its beauty and deep-rooted history. But beneath its picturesque exterior lay a dark legacy whispered among the locals. Ghost stories, disappearances, and unexplainable events surrounded the infamous Pine Hollow Trail, a secluded pathway leading to the ruins of an old monastery. Elena, a travel blogger with a penchant for the paranormal, arrived in St. Augustine one chilly October evening. She had heard of the haunted trail and was determined to explore it, hoping to capture something extraordinary for her growing audience. The townsfolk warned her not to venture there at night, sharing tales of eerie apparitions and the screams of unseen entities. Ignoring their caution, Elena set off at dusk, armed with her camera, a flashlight, and a healthy dose of skepticism. As she entered the trail, the air grew still. The tall, ancient trees cast long, gnarled shadows that seemed to reach for her. The path was eerily silent, save for the crunch of her boots on the gravel. About half a mile in, she noticed the temperature drop. Her breath became visible, and an unsettling sensation crept up her spine. Suddenly, her flashlight flickered, casting distorted shadows on the moss-covered trees. "Probably just the batteries," she muttered, tapping the flashlight. But deep down, she felt something was wrong. A faint whisper reached her ears, indistinct yet unnervingly close. She froze, scanning the darkness. "Is someone there?" she called out, her voice trembling. No answer, only silence. She pressed on, trying to shake the unease. Ahead, she saw the outline of the monastery ruins, bathed in the faint glow of the rising moon. Its crumbling walls and overgrown vines gave it an otherworldly appearance. Elena began snapping photos, but the camera screen displayed strange distortions, blurs and streaks of light that hadn't been visible to her naked eye. As she reviewed the images, she gasped. In one photo, a figure stood in the doorway of the ruins, a shadowy silhouette with hollow eyes. Her heart raced. She turned toward the ruins, but there was no one there. "This has to be a trick of the light," she whispered, trying to steady her nerves. As she stepped closer, the whispers returned, louder this time, forming incoherent words. The air around her grew heavy, as if an invisible force pressed against her. She clutched her camera and took another step, but her foot hit something soft. Looking down, she saw a bundle of old, tattered cloth stained with what looked like dried blood. A cold breeze brushed past her, carrying a faint, metallic scent. Elena turned to leave, but the path behind her seemed to stretch endlessly, the trees blending into an impenetrable wall of darkness. Panic set in as she realized the trail had changed, trapping her in a labyrinth. Suddenly, a guttural growl broke the silence. She spun around to see a figure emerging from the ruins. It was no longer a shadow, but a pale, emaciated being with sunken eyes and claw-like hands. Its mouth stretched into an unnatural grin, revealing jagged yellow teeth. Elena screamed and ran, her flashlight swinging wildly. The growls and whispers followed her, growing louder with each step. The path twisted and turned, defying logic until she stumbled and fell into a clearing. In the center stood a weathered altar, surrounded by crude carvings of hooded figures. Candles flickered to life around her, casting the clearing in a dim, flickering glow. The entity appeared again, this time closer. It raised a bony hand, and Elena felt an icy grip on her chest, paralyzing her. The whispers became deafening, forming a single chilling phrase, "You cannot leave." Desperate, Elena grabbed the pendant around her neck, a gift from her grandmother who had always told her it would protect her from harm. She clutched it tightly and began to pray, her voice trembling but resolute. The entity recoiled, its form flickering like a dying flame. The candles extinguished and the oppressive force lifted. The trail reappeared, clear and straight. Without hesitation, Elena ran until she reached the entrance of Pine Hollow Trail. She collapsed on the cobblestone street, gasping for air. The townsfolk found her the next morning, her face pale and her hands clutching her camera. She tried to explain what had happened, but few believed her. When she developed the photos, they revealed the truth, images of the shadowy figure, the altar, and the hooded carvings. Elena never returned to St. Augustine. Though she shared her story online, she warned her readers, "Some places are haunted for a reason, and some horrors are better left undiscovered." The Pine Hollow Trail remains untouched, its secrets buried in shadows, waiting for the next curious soul to venture too far.